Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition. This is number 114? Number 115?
I don't know. Hold on, let me look.
Welcome back to the 115th edition of Eating Soup Alone with your host, Nick Johnson and Chris Crumley. This week's episode is on Moonraker and also Saw 8. Thanks for being here, or something like that. Play the music, right? That's how we always do it.
Sorry. Hi, and welcome back to Eating Soup Alone. This is episode 114. I'm your co-host, Nick Johnson.
And I'm your co-host.
Here's your host.
Oh, I'm the host.
Christopher Crumley.
Okay,
Yeah.
Chris Crumley.
Yeah, you wrote the thing.
Yep. Okay, so this week we watched Moonraker and Saw 8, and I'll play the song. Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week. So this week, we watched another couple of these boring-ass movies that we both hate. It's probably going to be a short fucking episode, because we're not going to have that much to say about them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, again, we talk about this every episode. I don't appreciate, I'm not a fan of just being like, this is not good. But I didn't like these. Okay.
Yeah, but these movies keep doing it to us.
You want to talk about Moonraker first? It came out in 1979.
Correct.
And it was directed by Montgomery Harderwerner.
You're surprisingly close. Lewis Gilbert.
Okay.
Screenplay
And it was
by...
made for $18 million?
No.
7.
No.
35?
34.
$34 million. And it made $178 million.
110.
$110 million. It was written by John J. Moneyworth.
Jingleheimer-Schmidt.
Okay.
Screenplay by Christopher Wood. Starring Roger Moore.
And
others.
Great. Now, my first complaint with this film is I have a smooth brain. You call it Moonraker. I assumed you were going to be on the moon most of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They were not on the moon for almost any of this movie.
Yeah.
The Moonraker is a ship or something? Some kind of...
It's like a rocket.
It's like a rocket.
This is one of the few books that I've read.
Really?
James Bond books.
How does it stack up?
And in general, few books that I've read because I do not read.
Tell me about the book.
Moonraker is considered to be one of the better books. It's up there with Casino Royale.
Really?
Like, I think those are the top two.
Yeah.
The book is about Hugo Drax, who is the main antagonist in this film.
Right, who I recognize. And you should too, because you watched India Song. He's in India
he is.
Song. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He
look at
looks
that.
like my cousin Matt.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Big forehead and no disrespect. He's sensitive about the forehead, but hey, look, I got big forehead too.
Okay.
It's a Crumley thing.
I won't tell him.
It's the Crumley hairline.
He
He listens.
Oh.
No, he doesn't. But I don't know I'm not trying to throw any. I'm trying to put some respect on his name. I respect him. He's got a big, kind heart. He's a very nice person. He works very hard. He's very funny. He's very caring.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him. He's my cousin.
But
I love my cousins.
Hugo Drax is, same type of guy as he is in the movie.
Yep.
Moonraker's not a ship that goes to space, I
It's a
believe.
woman. No, what is it?
It's a...
Dog?
I think it's just classic James Bond kind of stuff. Like, yeah, nukes or something.
Sure.
Taking over the world.
Yeah.
But Hugo Drax was in the war.
Which one?
One of them.
Okay.
And was so disfigured that he had to have facial reconstructive surgery.
Okay.
And so his face doesn't look quite right, but it's pretty close
to
what he used to look like. And you find out at the end, no, Hugo Drax died in the war, and this guy assumed his identity.
Wow.
And took all this stuff. So this movie starts, we see Hugo Drax, I look at this man and I go, yeah, that looks like a man who has a fake face on.
Question.
He doesn't. That's just how this man looks.
Yeah, question. I truly was so bored by this film I did not pay much attention. Do they give that twist in the film?
No, not at all. No.
Because, yeah.
No.
Not to be a dick, but this, and all of the Roger Moore ones, I was telling this to Zeta on the other day. The thing about the James Bond one is the more Roger Moore we watched, the more that I looked fondly back on the Sean Connery ones. Because even like Goldfinger, one of my biggest things was like, man, James Bond is kidnapped the whole time. He's not doing James Bond stuff. But I'm like, damn, that'd be a nice change of pace. Because I feel like every single one of these Roger Moore ones have basically been like an ad-libbed version of the same thing. Like they just changed the villain's name and they're like, okay, instead of being underwater, they're fucking at space and they're doing lasers this time. Like,
well, it's something I thought about. I wrote it down in my notes in this one.
yeah.
You see M at the beginning of this, like you do in all of them.
Yeah.
And he's sitting in his office.
Yeah.
I was thinking, is that the same set? Has this been the same set since Dr. No?
Every time.
It might have a new coat of paint on it or something like that, but it
is?
feels like a TV show. Like, this is Dad's office that you go into every time.
Okay.
And I think every time we watch one of these, I'm like, oh, yeah, all of these since Dr. No has been the exact same, you know, gets a mission from M, he goes to the place, he fucks some women, and then it always ends on a train where he fights the henchman again, and him and the lady leave.
Yeah, you start with the thing where his life's being threatened, but he's also trying to fuck somebody, but then when he tries to fuck them, they end up, like, he gets double-crossed.
And it's got to change soon, right?
Yeah, and the thing is that he's always, like, on assignment, but then they're like, we're taking you off this, but you're going on vacation, and then he goes to the place so that he can investigate it on his own time, unofficially. Whatever, you know.
And with the Sean Connery ones, we were like, you know, we found something to like in all of them, whether it was like, I think Sean Connery's very charming, or that fight on the train is really good, or isn't it crazy that he got on that jetpack and never used it again, to, oh my God, they made him Japanese?
That was bonkers.
And the Roger Moore ones haven't even had any of the, like, oh my God, he's Japanese. Now that kicks ass in a silly way.
Yeah, my top three are still On Her Majesty's Secret Service, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger, probably. Because Goldfinger just has such a great villain, and again, like, I didn't like it at the time, but the more that I think back to, like, him just being kidnapped underground in Kentucky while American agents just keep driving up to the property and being like, damn, he's in there. It's like, you know, at least funny and fun.
And I haven't felt that way about any of these Roger Moore ones.
It's been a while,
You said at the beginning, but both of these movie franchises are just beating us down lately.
Yeah.
Chris?
How much longer until we're out? Go ahead.
I like Moonraker.
Do you really?
Moonraker was as fun as I would say You Only Live Twice is. The one where he goes to Japan.
That's
I enjoyed it about that much. Yeah. But I was very surprised while watching it. A bunch of stuff just kept happening where I was just like, whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
You have to tell me about it, because
I will.
Let's really check out.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. How much more Roger Moore do we have?
I think he's got like maybe 2, maybe 3.
I like to hear that.
Let's see. The James Bond series. I'm sure I'll memorize this at some
Tax
point.
exile. Moore became a tax exile from the United Kingdom in 1978, originally to Switzerland, and divided his year between his 4 homes: an apartment in Monte Carlo, a holiday house in the coastal Tuscan town of Castiglione de la Pescia, a chatelet in Crans, Montana, Switzerland, and a home in Paul Saint-Vence in France. Moore became a resident of Monaco, having been appointed a goodwill ambassador of Monaco by Prince Albert II for his effort in internationally promoting and publicizing the principality. Moore was scathing of the Russian population in Monaco, saying, "I'm afraid we're overstuffed with Russians. All the restaurant menus are in Russian now." Moore was vocal in his defense of his tax exile status, saying that in the 1970s, with taxes levied on top earners against the Labour government of James Callaghan, he had been urged by his accountants, agents, and lawyers to move abroad because, quote, "at that point, we were taxed up to 98% on unearned income, so you would never be able to save enough to ensure that you had any sort of livelihood if you didn't work." Moore said in 2011 that his decision to live abroad was not, quote, "about taxes." That's a serious part of it, but I came back to England often enough not to miss it, to see the changes, to find some of the changes good. I paid my taxes at the time that I was earning a decent income, so I've paid my due. Interesting. So my man was not a fan of getting taxed. But I really went here just to look at the filmography. We're looking at 1979. We got
3 more.
We got 3 more?
Unfortunately, yeah.
What's the next one? For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and then A View to Kill, right?
Yeah. If you want, we can take a break before A View to a Kill and watch the Sean Connery one that came out around this time. The one that doesn't count.
I'd rather not do that.
Okay. You don't want to watch Thunderball again?
No.
Anywho.
So, would you like to take the reins?
Sure. This one, like a lot of them, pretty loose on the plot, but I think that's kind of a point. Starts out on that plane. No, I think
Yeah.
M gets a call and they need someone to do something. Moneypenny, is James still on that mission in Africa? She goes, yes, he's about to be on his last leg, though. And then it cuts to him fucking, and I went, boo! And then
Dark Knight Rises mode.
he gets Dark Knight Rises mode on the plane.
Yeah.
Worst fit I've seen a James Bond in so far. Horrible. He gets up, and then the pilot shoots the plane and goes, get out of this plane, you're dying. And
Yeah.
James Bond pushes that guy out of the plane.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, Jaws comes out and pushes James Bond out of the plane. So, was Jaws just hanging out in the back of the plane going, these guys got it.
How many movies has Jaws been in now?
This is the second.
Second one? Okay.
Yeah. So he's just hanging out in the plane.
Yeah. I like that. Personally.
And then they're falling through the air. James Bond catches up with that guy.
I think it'd be cool if he had like a, like a nemesis that wasn't like, Dr. Evil, but like a henchman that was like always on his ass like that.
You got it.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I hope it keeps going.
I think he might keep going. But James Bond catches up to that guy and then puts his ass in his face, which I found very funny.
Yeah.
And then this is one of those like Indiana Jones moments while watching this movie where I was like, after a minute, I was like, oh, this is two real men falling out of a real airplane.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with that. I'm like, yeah, these guys just don't have parachutes. That's crazy. And then the camera gets a little bit closer and you can see that the back of their jackets are very clearly parachute shaped. And then Jaws catches up with him, but then Jaws goes to pull his parachute and it's broken. And he goes, and then he falls into a circus.
Type shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I came to the realization in this movie, Jaws is Wile E. Coyote. Everything that happens to him is
blink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He gets distracted by a pretty girl. He gets
I forgot
tricked off of cliffs and stuff like that.
That might be the only note I wrote down for it. It was Jaws falls in love.
And then it cuts to the theme song, which I don't remember at all.
Oh, yeah.
He gets his mission from the folks, and Q says something. Q is like, oh, James Bond, check this out. Here's this little watch. And I don't know if you noticed, I think this is the only scene Q is in. He looks to me like a man who died.
And Weekends at Burning him?
Yeah, but... Yeah, he looks
Weekend at Bernie's Zinging.
But they had
a
quarter come in and put the coffin makeup on him and then threw him in like hours after he died. They did that to him. It's I don't know how much longer this guy's going to be alive for. I don't know how many more movies we get this Q in because he seems very old.
Can I ask you what's the Bond girl's name in this without looking?
Dr. Holly Goodhead.
Yeah.
How could I forget?
How could you forget?
And
what is so like? It's just like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just like, humor, right? This is a joke. Okay. Right? Like, that's the thing? With these women's names, they're just being funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember the first one's name?
A lot of vagina or something, wasn't it? Wasn't it Pussy Galore?
It's Sylvia Trench, so you're not far off. Isn't that gross? Yeah. Anyway.
But they're just being funny, right? Like, they just like, women's
at this point,
joke.
yeah. My big thing to note during the scene, they give him a mission. They go, Hugo Drax is doing some shit with space. I don't know, figure it out.
Yeah.
And they talk, yada, yada, and James Bond goes, well, good morning, gentlemen, and leaves. Can you do that? Can you use good morning as a goodbye? you could leave and say, all right, good night.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But if I left here right now and went, all right, Chris, good morning.
Yeah.
And I left, that...
If it was morning, maybe. I don't know, like if you had a paper under your arm, I feel like you need a cup of coffee and you're like, good morning, gentlemen. And you left.
You do that when you come in, though.
Yeah.
But to leave and say good morning.
I could see it, especially in England.
Yeah,
English,
you're right.
You know?
It's
like,
a bad thing.
Good morning, gentlemen. And you're on your merry way, you know. But here you couldn't get away with that. Not in America. I would say it's a cultural difference.
Yeah. My next note I have written down is all his guys came out his butt. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean.
I don't know what that means either. Let's read.
Oh, his guts. He goes to the space stuff where he meets Dr. Holly Goodhead, and she puts him in the machine that goes round and round and round. Most disrespectful part of this movie is to put a guy in the machine or whatever.
Doesn't someone like put the lever to be
exactly.
max speed? People love doing that while James Bond is like it happened to Sean Connery when he's in the belly jiggler or something, where they rub his fat belly.
Yeah, like Buttfucker 5000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, and he like cranks it all the way up.
Yeah. She puts him in that machine. It simulates G-force.
Sure.
Yeah, for going into space or whatever. And he's like, I don't know.
You know, when they're in space for 4 minutes.
Yeah, and she tells him, like, I'm going to put you under, like, 3 Gs or something like that. Yeah, he goes, well, is that safe? Is that something I could handle? And she goes, Mr. Bond, a 70-year-old could handle 3 Gs. And I was like, well, this man's 80 years old. He's the oldest I've ever seen
5G
a man
could
look.
give you cancer.
He looks so bad in this movie.
Yeah.
I like every time I see him, I'm like, God, get him. I'm so sorry to this man, Roger Moore. I'm pretty sure he's dead, but a little tired to seeing of him.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised at how much I just did not like Roger Moore.
And then
I never have. There's not a Roger Moore movie I've enjoyed.
Oh, that helicopter pilot. He gets piloted there by a hot helicopter pilot lady.
Okay.
And then he goes to see her again later that night after surviving the G machine.
Okay.
And he's like, what's up? And she's like, oh, shit, are we fucking? And he's like, I need information. She goes, but I want a sex. And he goes, I'll take you down if you tell me what I want to know. And then they do. And then...
This thing right here says... Was her name Corinne Dufour?
Sure.
Helps find blueprints for a glass vial made in Venice. Drax discovers her involvement and has her killed by his pet dog.
Oh, that's right. He releases the hounds. I totally forgot.
Smithers, release the
That's
hounds.
exactly what happens. He's like, all right, well, you told him my secrets, so I'm firing you. And then she leaves, and he goes, release the hounds, and then they get him.
Nice.
Also, they're just like fox hunting, like doing very British stuff.
Yeah, I remember that happening. Yeah.
Florida? No, California, where the space shuttle shit is.
Yeah.
It's very strange. And then he goes to Venice, and there's a great boat chase here that I liked quite a bit, especially when he goes by a boat that's got a coffin on it, and a guy
the guy comes out with all the guns.
Yeah.
But then immediately gets stabbed in the heart with a throwing knife.
Love it.
Yes.
And then I wrote down the closed captions said yelling in Italian, and I thought that was pretty good.
The vials hold a nerve gas deadly to humans, but harmless to plants and animals. Thanks God. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, I like this boat chase quite a bit. I also like all the sets in this movie, to say something positive about it.
Okay.
I think anytime they show any space stuff or just someone's office even, I'm like, this looks really good. I really like how this movie looks. Where's he going in Venice? What's the facility he ends up going to?
Some laboratory where they make nerve gas, right?
Yeah, and that science nerd puts in the number on the keypad, but the numbers are all musical notes, which is why you wouldn't do that, because James Bond just hears it and goes on beep, 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 beep. It's crazy.
Yeah. Can I read you a little bit about this Mandela effect?
I really hope you will.
Part? Yeah. So apparently significant debate and potential...
Can I guess?
Yes.
Is it about Jaws' girlfriend having braces?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
Have you?
People are like, oh yeah, she had braces because he's got weird teeth too. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, she doesn't.
You got it.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Sorry, didn't mean to deflate that balloon harshly.
Then he throws a guy named Chang into a damn clock tower, apparently.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Josh shows up again at some point. Oh, yeah. They're at the carnival.
Yeah, survives attack by Jaw.
He goes...
Rio Carnival in Rio de Janeiro.
I liked the James Bond line in this where he goes to climb that roof. He's walking with that girl, and he stops. He goes, I'll be right back. Don't talk to any strange men. And then the strangest man on Earth, Jaws, shows up.
7 foot tall with metal teeth.
And he's dressed like a giant clown.
Yeah. He falls in love with that lady. Captures good head, but Bond escapes, it says. He learns that the toxins come from a rare orchid indigenous to the Amazon jungle. Bond travels the Amazon River and comes under attack from Drax's forces, but before eventually locating his base. Captured by Jaws, Bond is taken to Drax and witnesses 4 Moonraker shuttles lifting off.
This is right before this, I think, is when he's a cowboy for some reason. You remember this? He's in the desert riding a horse dressed like a cowboy. I don't know who he's there to meet, but I think he gets captured closely after this.
Okay.
But he's doing that thing you see in every movie, every one of these movies, where he meets someone from another country who's on the side of MI6, and they show him around his base full of guys training. You know this type of scene we get in all these?
Yes.
And there's guys shooting guns, and so there's a lot of cowboys just shooting guns.
Yes.
And then one of them, for no reason that is explained, is shooting a laser gun. Just dressed like
Fallout.
looks like a cowboy.
Yeah.
Standing in like a desert with a bunch of like crumbling like tan rocks around him, and he's just going pew pew with a laser.
Nice.
It sucks. And then those EMTs kidnap them, correct?
I don't know, bro.
But the way they get out of being captured by the EMTs is Dr. Holly Goodhead just looks at the EMT and goes, and she gives him like sexy eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's it. That's all I had to do.
Okay, so this part says Drax explains that he stole back the lone shuttle because another in his fleet had developed a fault during assembly. Bond and Goodhead are locked in a room under the launch platform and narrowly escape being incinerated by the exhaust of Moonraker 5, which is carrying Drax, and then pose as pilots on Moonraker 6. The shuttle docks with Drax's space station hidden from radar by a cloaking device. Bond and Goodhead disable the radar jamming cloaking device. The U.S. sends a company of Marines aboard another shuttle to intercept the now visible space station. Jaws captures Bond and Goodhead, to whom Drax reveals his plans to destroy humanity by launching 50 globes that would disperse the nerve gas into Earth's atmosphere. Just stop me whenever you want to. Drax.
Yeah, I'll stop you right here. They go up into space, and him and her are in that ship, I remember.
Yeah.
And she does that thing that they do at the beginning of 2001, The Space Odyssey, where the pen is floating through the air, and she grabs it and then writes something down. I was like, that's weird to just rip straight from another movie. And then it cuts to the space station. No, James Bond puts his space helmet on, and it's the same space suit from 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I was like, that's weird to back-to-back steal two things from that movie. And then like 5 minutes later, you see someone walking down a corridor, and they're just like...
And it's Kubrick.
And it's 100%... They steal so much aesthetic stuff from 2001: A Space Odyssey that I'm like, I don't know how you're getting away with this, because those movies... hold on, let me see when 2001 came out.
1960 fucking... Before we even went to the moon, like 67 maybe? 66?
68, yeah.
68?
So the movie came out well after this.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, is that supposed to be like a Dr. Holly Good? Yeah, 10 years. This is 11 years. This is a Holly Goodhead type joke where they're like, get it, 2001? Or they're just like, this is space stuff. I don't know. I cannot tell.
It's fair. Maybe it was just left over.
Yeah, maybe.
They're like, let's just use this shit. We already made it. Drax had transported several dozen genetically perfect young men and women of varying races to the space station in the shuttles. So,
yeah, he's doing like a Noah's Ark.
Yeah, Noah's Ark. Yeah. They would live there until Earth is safe for human life again, and their descendants becoming a new master race. You love to hear those words back to back to back.
Yeah, but he said all races.
Bond persuades Jaws to switch his allegiance by getting Drax to admit that anyone not measuring up to his physical standards, including Jaws and Dolly, would be exterminated. Jaws attacks Drax's bodyguards, and a laser battle ensues between Drax's forces and Bond, Jaws, and the Marines. Drax's forces are defeated as the station is destroyed, and while Bond shoots and ejects Drax into space. Bond and Goodhead use Drax's laser arm Moonraker 5 to destroy the 3 launched globes and return to Earth. Jaws and Dolly, who ejected themselves into one of Drax's escape pods, are recovered by Marines. Bond's superiors get a video feed of Moonraker 5 and are shocked to see Bond and Goodhead making love in zero gravity.
Yes, they say, what is he doing now? And Q goes, I believe he's attempting re-entry. Gross. I have bad news for you. Richard Kiel, who plays Jaws, is dead. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you knew that. This is the last one he's in, unfortunately.
I looked.
But, fun fact.
He's still alive?
Jaws, born September 13th, 1939, in Detroit, Michigan, USA.
Yo.
Isn't that fun? Don't know why he's got that accent, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah, also, he talks in this movie.
Yeah.
He pours his girlfriend champagne, and he goes, to us, I suppose, or something like that.
A romantic. A 7-foot-tall metal-mouthed fucking romantic. Yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's an F for me, dog.
An F? You're going to give it an F?
Yeah.
It's pretty low.
Doesn't do anything for me.
I'll give it a...
C+.
C-.
All right, write those down on that sheet of paper right there. And
Jigsaw,
Jigsaw 2017 by the Spierig brothers.
Spierig brothers. Written by Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger. Great name.
Goldfinger. Stars a bunch of people that nobody has ever seen. And let's see, this thing was made for 10 mil and made 100 mil, so no brainer. Lay up all day long.
Yep, I read the immediately greenlit 9 and 10 after this movie came out.
1000%. I mean, again, as much as I do not like Saw at all, I mean, the first one was fine, but since then it's just been, it's a no-brainer. Like, if I was Lionsgate, like Mr. Lionsgate, they'd be like, yeah, 13 more of these, obviously.
Yeah, this movie made $100 million.
Yeah.
It made us $90 million.
Yeah, so,
can I start with my thoughts first, or would you like to start?
well, I was going to say something, but yes, you go while I remember what I was going to say, but go ahead, yeah.
I can give you a second to remember.
Oh, well, yeah, let me just get this up, because I just grabbed it. I was on a walk with Will, and I was just generally talking about how, like, the biggest hole the series ever dug for itself was, like, killing Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Like, my man has 3 backstories for why he is the way he is. He's got the thing where he got cancer. He's got the whole thing, and then he's got the thing about, like, the
Smash Baby.
And then he's got the car accident where he got impaled and stuff, and that reminded him of, like, the fragility of life and stuff.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, any one of those will do, but for simplicity's sake, honestly, even just, like, the baby thing would have been fine. But, get rid of the cancer thing so he doesn't have to die, and then get rid of killing him so then you don't have to have every movie be, this was Jigsaw's Robin. He really took this kid under. But what you're talking about is, like, what, like a year period or whatever where this guy had, like, cancer or something?
That's a great question.
And he
How
made
long
all
did he
of these,
operate for?
Yeah, he had all these, like, super, super, super important relationships. You know what I mean?
And,
like how many, like, Bat family sidekick meaningful.
Yeah.
He's a Batman, but go ahead.
I was thinking about it earlier today. There's a scene in one of these where it shows Amanda and Jigsaw talking, and he's like, this is probably like the second or third movie, but they show Jigsaw with his shaved head and his little chin thing,
Yeah.
to let you know it's around the time of the first movie.
Looking very disturbed.
And him and her are talking, and he's like telling her something like, you have to be like, do whatever I say, you understand? And she's like, oh yeah, definitely. And it's like you can very clearly see this is a bad relationship. This is a very smart man taking advantage of this addict, and
Yeah.
This is just like a really
Evil
awful
Batman.
relationship, and she's like in love with him, and yada yada. And I was like, oh yeah, all of this with all of his sidekicks and stuff would make more sense if you leaned into him being that guy more.
Yeah.
And this was more of a cult, but instead it's
They
more
never
of
lean
like
into anything, though.
they keep trying to push the like, yeah, but when you think about it, isn't he doing a good thing? He's not hurting nobody.
Yeah.
They're hurting themselves. Like, the movie the movies keep acting like we ever buy that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It really does. And
Yeah.
it makes it. Sorry. Go on with what you're saying.
No, that was basically it. And the only thing I was saying was, like, my pitch is hire me, Lionsgate, to make a requel. And my thing would be, second movie, he immediately is captured and put into a jail cell. But you just keep doing the thing that the Saw movies do already, where he's in his little cell and the game's still going on, and they have to keep coming to him and being like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, I don't know. I'm not doing anything. These people are doing it to themselves.
Detective Hoffman, you can ask Warden Gables. I've been here for the past 6 months, never leaving this room.
Yeah.
How could I be doing these things to these people? Yeah, just like shit like that, like a Silence of the Lambs, but he never leaves. Like, you're right. All of this could have been happening while he's in a jail cell instead, and it would make way more sense for you to bring Tobin Bell back. Which, goddamn, I love Tobin Bell. He's so good in all these movies. Well, he's not good.
And they do a bait and switch. I wasn't paying full attention, but the thing is that they show you a flashback without telling you it's a flashback to make you think Jigsaw is still, like, back, but he's not actually back. You realize, oh, that was 10 years ago, actually. We've been showing you shit from 10 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so anyways, now your thought real quick before we get into it.
I was telling you before we started, Yesterday, I had a great day yesterday.
Good day.
Work went well, saw an old friend, went for a long walk.
And the whole time you just kept thinking, like, what if when I wake up I'm in a Saw trap?
Yeah. And I didn't think about Saw at all. Got home around 11 o'clock. Nice, comfy, a little exhausted from my walk. Cuddled into bed, real happy to go to sleep. Drifting off into a slumber and then went, oh, fuck, I gotta watch Saw 8 right now. And the thing that's really bothered me about these so far is that we've got... This is the 8th one. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many, like, Friday the 13ths there are. Oh, there's 10, because Jason
12.
X. Yeah.
Technically.
And then even A Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. We always get to a point where there's a few back-to-back where it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And watching them is tough.
Yeah.
But then we'll get one like a Friday the 13th Part 5, where even if it's like a critically disregarded movie that most people dislike, I'll be like, fuck, I love Friday the 13th Part 5 for some reason. Or I love Halloween...
Saw has not had that.
I love Halloween, Rob Zombie Halloween 2.
Yeah.
And I love the one where Freddy Krueger's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Like, I'll always find that. And then just with these Saw movies, for at this point, 7 movies in a row,
Yeah.
just been like, ugh. I mean, I like Saw 1. But, like, each next one, I think it might be in big part that they're annual. Like, they ship one of these out a year. And just like, this is not fun.
No.
Chris?
No.
I watched Jigsaw last night. Chris, I love Jigsaw. Chris, I like this movie so much. Oh my god. I rewound scenes to rewatch them.
Hell yeah.
I like this movie quite a bit.
Nice, hell yeah.
And I wrote some notes, and I know you'll disagree, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Because, oh man, I was so, I don't even want to say pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I was thrilled with my experience.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, let me say, I don't think this is a good movie.
No.
I think, if anything, this is what a middle-of-the-road to kind of lower Saw movie should be.
Okay.
Like, a lot of this is bad and, like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But there's just something about... I think a big thing that helped this movie is it's, 7 years after the last one came out. Everybody that was in a previous Saw movie, nowhere to be seen. We will never see Detective Hoffman again, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
The 2 detectives in this movie, not great. Their dialogue is kind of poorly written, but it is sometimes interesting or even kind of fun, where I'm not like, oh, these guys are really I don't want to say this movie's camp, but it's something adjacent to that to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this movie takes itself that seriously, but it takes itself as seriously as a Saw movie normally does.
Yeah.
And it's never like winking to the camera, but for some reason this could just be me as well. But watching this whole movie, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm like kind of on the same wavelength with this movie, where it's like, we know this isn't high art, and a lot of this is really silly, but it's a Saw movie. Saw movies all have this kind of silly thing in it, so let's just kind of go with this.
Yeah.
Like, so much happens in this movie from really bad police work that just happens to pan out. Like, they're finding the bodies. The 2 coroners are like looking at the bodies, yada yada, talking about them, and the 2 detectives leave the room, and for no reason, both of the detectives are like, I think it might be the 2 of them. I don't know where they get that idea from, but immediately they're like, man, what's up with those 2, huh? Should let's go look into them. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. And then, like, when they start going after the bad cop, it's only because the one coroner was just like, well, hey, didn't he find all those bodies first?
Yeah.
It's probably him. And aren't you in Internal Affairs? And he's like, damn it, you got me. I've been in Internal Affairs investigating him this whole time. It is probably him. And just shit like that, where I was just like, oh, that's goofy and that's silly and that makes no sense, but I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No problem. No. How does this movie start?
This movie starts, I believe, with all those people with the buckets on their head.
Ah, right. Just like that guitarist that your friend Jordan likes.
Exactly. And I laughed every time in this movie when they call him Buckethead, because the first thing I wrote down is like, because they show everybody and then they cut to him and he's still asleep on the floor. Yeah. And I wrote down, LOL, Buckethead is still asleep. Or Buckethead wakes up late. And then they call him Buckethead for the rest of the movie. And I'm like, that's great.
And they start getting pulled towards a thing, and then he's like, you must confess.
he's like sacrificed some blood.
Oh, right, yes.
And they all cut themselves
Right.
and they get out, except for the one that wakes up late.
Right.
And I liked as soon as they showed Buckethead hanging from the bridge. Do you remember that?
Yes, the lady's jogging and she goes, "Wah!"
That was weird though, because that shot starts on that woman's ass for arguably way too long, and then pans
I thought she
up
was
to
going to be
her
a person,
running.
too, but no, she was just an extra.
Just an extra, very strange. And then it cuts to guy on the bridge, but I was just like, oh, this is fun. I like up front us knowing that these take place at two different times. Like A plot and B plot aren't happening simultaneously. Where in, what is it, Saw 2, they go, tricked you, these were happening at two different points of time, like different days. And in this, I thought it was pretty clear that these bodies are showing up days after this game we're watching.
Yeah.
And then the movie started going on, and I was just like, oh no, are they going to try to twist me with that? Like I'm not supposed to, like I didn't already know that? And then they got me. When they were like, oh no, the game you were watching is a game from 10 years ago, not a couple days ago. I was like, oh, they got like a stupid Saw twist that's the same as all of them. I liked this movie so much when they said that. I was just like, oh, no way.
Hell yeah. Next thing that happens after the jog scene with the butt, which I don't remember the butt, but continue.
Let's see. Does it cut to our detectives? Oh no, this movie starts with that guy getting shot on the roof, remember?
Guy getting shot on the roof.
He's got like a trigger thing in his hand, and the bad cop is just like, put it down, and all the cops are around him, and he just gets shot and is dead.
That kind of rings a bell, but barely.
Well, that happened. His name is like Edgar or something.
And is this important?
Edgar Munson. Yeah, he's the guy that they find in the coffin later.
Okay. And that matters why?
Because the Jigsaw's coffin.
Yeah, but why is he important?
Because he was shot by bad cop.
Okay, so
because
he'd recognize him? Oh, like it's important to his backstory of why he's a bad man, why he's getting jigsawed.
Yes, because he like let that guy go free or like
something.
Because he was an informant or something and then tried to kill him.
Right. Eventually we meet the coroners. One of them is obsessed with Jigsaw and hangs out in Jigsaw forums, and the other one is just a guy.
Yeah, and the other one
whose wife died. That doesn't like bad cop.
Thomas Jane didn't exist, he'd probably be the Punisher.
Sure.
Yeah. He's got the craziest voice. He's never done voice work in his life, and he's got the most video game voice I've ever. When he's giving that monologue at the end, I'm like, dude, hell yeah.
It's pretty funny. Did you have a pick for who is doing the Jigsaw throughout the movie?
No, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, okay, cool. When it showed what's-her-face's like room full of all the old Saw traps, I was like, there's no way it's either of these people, because this is way too early for this to be happening if it really does turn out to be one of them, you know? Or her specifically.
Yeah.
And then when he was just like, wait, I think it might be other cop, I was just like, okay, it's other cop though. And then when it gets to the end, and the two of them are in the room with the man in the hood, I was just like, okay, he's going to take the hood off, and he's going to be cop, or he'll probably be the coroner. And he takes the hood off, and it was Jigsaw. I went, whoa! Like, watch it, like, that clip you showed me of that WrestleMania where just the glass shatters and everybody stands up because they know Stone Cold's coming out.
Yeah.
He took that hood off, and I almost stood up. I was like, oh, no way, because they got me. I was like, oh, whoa. Are they doing the thing that I've been asking them to do for 100 movies now, which is like, just bring him back. I don't give a shit.
I don't care.
I was like, oh, whoa, they brought him back and gave him the soul patch for some reason? Awesome. Love it. We'll get to that scene when we get to it. But, so no, at no point was I ever ahead of this movie.
Yeah.
At one point, I did think maybe boy coroner was working with the police to try and trap girl coroner. But I was like, nah, that's probably too smart for this movie. And it was. Traps now?
Traps.
Traps.
Sure, traps.
What's the trap after the buckets? Is it the needles?
I thought it was the pull in. Wasn't it the pull in when they get pulled in? Or is that the blood one?
They get pulled in with the buckets.
Yeah.
And then after
then
the
pulled up?
Yes.
Because the lady has to do the needles.
The lady has to do the needles.
She gets triple stabbed.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
Real hard.
And then there's the corn silo with the falling saws.
Yes. I liked that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because, he used on them to, like, confess their sins and stuff like that. And the asshole of the group, I can't remember his name, But like, what about you? What are your sins? He's like, I don't give a fuck. I sell drugs. I cheat. I steal. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's crazy. This is another thing too. Not only is my man Jigsaw got a laundry list of people who he's taken under his wing and he's Dick Graysoned them, but also he's got this laundry list of people who need to be put in saw traps before he dies.
Yeah.
Like, how does he know so many pieces of shit?
I know, right? Like,
because even the one guy, he's like, yeah, he says like, you sold my nephew a motorcycle that killed him.
Yeah, and then that other
it's like, damn, dude. Okay,
neighbor.
So you had cancer, got impaled in a car accident. Your son got smushed in the belly. Your nephew on the motorcycle got killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many bad days? Like, that thing about the Joker where it's like, I'm just one bad day away from you, Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Tobin Bell's had a damn week. Brother, he's had a week.
And I don't know what it is about this one finally, but there's just something about... It might even just be because it looks newer, but... When it just comes to that stuff, or like weird inconvenient leaps that the cops make, or how does Jigsaw have all this time? And oh god, are we seriously doing another thing where it's just another thing that he planned before he died?
Yeah.
For some reason, this one in Saw 8, I was just like, I just accept it.
Sure, yeah.
That's just something that happens now, and I'm totally fine with it.
I will say they really stepped it up with the gore. The gore is very impressive in this one.
I feel opposite.
Compared to the last one, the 3D one was horrible.
Yes, but this one was very CG.
Really?
It was just thick with...
Like in the beginning with that heart, the open heart thing was like making me uncomfortable.
Yes, I will say I like how gore is used in this one more than the last ones.
Okay.
Because it is stuff like that where it's just like, you go to the corners and they're like, here's the body open, and it's just like, oh god. And it's not on screen for that long. It's not like when they're cutting Jigsaw open at the beginning of 3 or whatever, where it's just like, oh gross, stop showing this to me. It's just very effective, like, hey, this is a gross thing that's happening. Now we're doing this.
Yeah. Just referring to the Wikipedia page for a moment. See if I can find anything else. Just scrubbing through this plot real quick. Remote trigger, John Kramer, asthmatic, purse snatcher, hanged, needles.
Oh yes, it's the grain silo. That's where we were. I like that guy tries to get out of, like, tries to cheat and bang through the floor, and his foot gets caught in a trap.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. I don't know why, but I love Jigsaw being like, oh yeah.
What if they try to bang through the floor?
This guy's gonna try to cheat. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
That's
hey,
good.
guess what? Double trap. I trapped you on a trap.
Yeah. Yeah, they find his body in the thing in Kramer's grave. So where's Kramer's body then?
Great question. I don't think we know.
Halloran finds a corpse appearing to be Mitch in the studio. That's when they're like, oop, it's the lady coroner. Let him go. Questioner, bullet which hit Edgar was fired, blah, 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 blah. Suspect that so-and-so is the new Jigsaw killer in the barn. Shackled to pipes at the opposite end of the room. Kramer confronts them and reveals that Anna asphyxiated her.
Dude, you're jumping so far, so fast.
Okay.
Baby, I like this movie. I want to talk.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you do your thing. You do your thing.
They dig up his body.
Yeah.
Now, Chris.
Yes.
You're the police.
I'm the police.
You're told, go check out this body.
Yeah, in the first episode of The X-Files, they do this. In the pilot episode, they dig up a young man's body, and what is in there? Well, it's what Fox Mulder believes to be an alien, but they're doing the autopsy. Scully is cutting the body and stuff, and Fox has a big flash camera photographer. She's like, you know what this means for science? But God, it's an alien body. And Scully goes, no, this is a dead orangutan.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, it's an orangutan. But the other thing, too, is when they first crack it open, accidentally, because it falls down the hill, they see the tiny body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the kid's name is like Fred Soames or something like that. But anyways, it's one of my favorite scenes in the X-Files because it's a tiny body. And giggling, Fox Mulder takes a look at it and then turns to Scully and just like, something tells me Ray Soames never played varsity. All right, seal it down. Nobody sees it. Like, he just immediately, like, he goes from like the...
I love that.
So funny.
So you're the cops.
I'm the cops.
I'm your boss.
You're the boss.
I tell you, cops,
Yeah.
go dig up this body. Tell me what's inside.
You got a boss.
Do it in front of the news so they can see that
They would not do that.
In that, no, never.
Yes. But we did it in this scenario.
Inside this coffin turns out to be a man who has been in a coma for the last 6 months.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
You, a
Me.
police officer.
Yeah.
You show up to that grave.
Yeah.
100%. Before you do any digging, you go, someone has dug up this grave very recently.
1,000%. Yeah.
Crazy.
No question.
Love it.
Fair point.
I also really like. Yeah, the guy seems like Edgar Munson or something
Sure.
like that. And
Sounds like an actor on Law and Order.
I don't remember the specifics, but one of the bodies that they find gets like thrown off a roof of a hospital.
Okay.
And the coroner's looking at it.
Halloween Kills.
Exactly. And he's talking to the detective.
Yes.
And he goes, "What are the coincidences that this victim came off the roof that of the hospital that Edgar Munson's in?" And the cop goes, "So I can't remember exactly who says it."
If only you'd written it down. Little Mr. Note Taker, you even got a notebook right there. I'm looking at a notebook in front of you.
He says something along the lines of like, "Do you think I would think it's likely that Edgar woke up from a 6-month coma, snuck out of his room, got his victim, walked all the way up to the roof, and pushed her out?" I did call the ICU, though, and he's still in there. And he gives him a little smile. I was like, I like that, because that's a lot of exposition of who Edgar Munson is and where he is currently. And also, it's just a little character development for him just being cute with his coworker, being like, "But yeah, you know me, I'm paranoid. I called. I checked to see if he was still in this room." I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, not bad.
And then, let's see, after they dig up the body, I don't remember. I think the traps are pretty weak in this one, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I was not feeling the traps.
I do like them being in the grain silo, and it stops, and he's like out of grain, so he's just like, fucking knives. And then just throw a bunch of saw blades and shit in there. That was very funny. The bike thing, whatever, I wrote down, "Whoa, secret nephew." Thought that was fun. Whether it was Jigsaw or not, doesn't matter. Fun. I was like, someone's got a secret nephew. And it's so strange, because we have met his wife, and...
What's her name?
Jill. Remember Jill?
Jill Saw.
Yeah, she gets the baby pushed in.
Yep.
And that always felt weird, but to think about Jigsaw having a
Two
brother or a
mother.
sister
Yeah.
to facilitate a nephew, and for Jigsaw to have a mom and a dad,
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about that.
You know what Jigsaw gives me?
What does he give you?
He gives me collar bomb vibes. Remember that? Pizza Delivery Man, they put a collar bomb on?
Yeah, that they made that movie about with Jesse Eisenberg.
Well, actually, the guy who wrote it swears he never heard of that.
Yeah.
He swears that was not the inspiration.
Well,
he swears.
Maybe he gave the bad guys the idea. And that's what he's like, just not telling the whole truth. He's like, I thought of it before I heard that happened. But anyway.
That's why you don't leave your spec script laying around. You know?
Yeah. They, the two coroners have the weirdest conversation I've ever heard. Chris, are these two together? Are they an item?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I think they've been fucking.
Okay, sure.
At least that's what I thought.
Like, when they're talking in the bar, she was like, I lied to the detective because I wasn't home last night. And I'm like, ooh, is she like cheating on her husband with him or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, oh no, she was just doing her weird room. Also, a nice little bit of setup exposition. What happened to Man Corner? He's like,
his wife died.
he was, yeah, but also he was in war.
A war.
And did bad or saw bad.
Did good.
Just bad happened.
He was a medic.
Okay.
With the black gentleman.
And that's why that detective thinks he might be the killer, is because he went to war and saw something bad.
Yeah.
And then
he's seen some shit.
The other detective thinks it's the woman coroner because he's just like, I don't know, she's got a big ass and a big mouth, and I think she's kind of fucked up.
Great ass!
So I'm gonna go investigate her.
Al Pacino.
And then she's got all the saw traps for some reason. She's like, I built this one because someone had the blueprints somehow, and he never used it. And it's just like, okay. And then another cop gets pictures, and he confronts Coroner about it, and Coroner's like, oh, it's probably your friend. And he's like, all right. And then we get to the end of the traps, where good woman, mean man are in the room with Jigsaw. Turns out her husband didn't roll over smash a baby. She planted baby there to get smashed, and Jigsaw goes, hey, I know something or two about a smashed baby. I ain't letting this go. And again, just to go back to what you were saying about how does he have time for any of this?
Yeah.
It shows him drawing a little sketch at home of a trap and then goes, my neighbors are arguing. I should pay attention to this. But
I love it.
I think this scene of Tobin Bell talking to the two of them
Yeah.
carries the entire movie for me.
Heard.
because this is just all I've ever wanted out of any of these movies.
Yeah.
100% of the time when we see Jigsaw, he is sitting in a chair looking into camera out of a TV at you or whoever is doing the trap and dying of cancer.
Yeah.
In this, he's just chewing up scenery left and right, and they just let him go. And it's so like he's got that like gurney in the middle of the room that he's putting things on and taking things off and like doing and like clearly he's like thinking of 3 things at once while he's talking to them while like yada yada, and he's just doing little stuff that I love. All like he's just like he like reaches under the table and grabs something and he goes, "I'm gonna give the 2 of you a chance today. Turn it all around." Like does that little spin with his finger. I was like, love it.
Yeah.
And the guy at one point goes, oh fuck, what are you gonna do to us? And he's like looking down and he goes, me, I'm not gonna do anything to you. And I'm like, love it. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, but why couldn't this be the whole film series?
Why couldn't? That's what I liked about it. It was like, oh, finally, this thing that like you can see potential wise in these movies. It's not happening
like day one. Like I wish I would have been there. Like to just be like when the thing was getting penned, just be like he does not have cancer and he cannot die. Those are the 2 rules. Kind of like how like Mustafa Akkad had that rule for Halloween, where it's just like Michael Myers can't not die.
Yeah.
Just implement that for Mr. Tobin.
Yeah, love it.
Anyways, continue.
And then he does his tricky little stuff. Where he goes,
I'm sorry, I gotta derail again. Like
love it.
It is comparable to just being like. At like movie 2 of Nightmare on Elm Street being like, yeah, but they literally defeated Freddy. He's going to be kind of around for the next 6 ones, but he's like technically dead and not there. Mm-hmm. It's like, you don't do that with your Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it's
you know
crazy.
what I'm saying? Like, your Saw franchise, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, Saw's dead though. What do you mean Saw's dead? You're making 10 of them. Saw cannot be dead in number 2.
Yeah, and you think, like, in Saw 5, ended with him going, well, they open his coffin and it's empty, and then like he walks out of somewhere and he's like, well, you'll have to watch Saw 6 to see how I'm not dead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like, yeah, let him be dead for a movie maybe.
Do you seriously think fans of Saw are gonna go, well, now this is unbelievable?
Yeah.
I just can't get invested in this anymore. It's crazy.
I genuinely, I'm not even trying to be funny, Nick. I cannot believe they have not done that yet.
Yeah,
I cannot believe that they have not done that
even
yet.
with this one. I was really excited because I thought
the
that's what
way
they
they're
were doing.
sticking to their guns on this is nuts.
It's crazy.
It's 2017 now, and they haven't brought that motherfucker back.
It's crazy.
Are you shitting my whole ass?
But I think this is the best way they've brought him back in any of these movies.
Yeah, the next one's considered a standalone. It's outside of the chronology, apparently. Spiral. It's called A Story from the Book of Saw.
Directed by Chris Rock. I don't think he directed it.
No, but it's his story pitch, and he did an uncredited rewrite on the script or something. He touched it up, and now he's also the main star of it. Because he wanted to branch out into horror.
Yeah.
Interesting way to do it. I feel like the much better way to do it would probably be to like call up A24 and be like, yo, you got... Like,
you put me in something.
Put me in something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
I would not call up Saw and be like, now I've got an idea.
I guess he just likes Saw.
Maybe he does. I don't know. I mean, there's a lady who works at the gym I go to that has a big old Billy tattoo on her forearm.
And on the other arm, Chris Rock.
Yeah, she loves that one. It's her favorite one.
So, let's see. Oh, yeah, he's talking to them in the room still. Does his cute little Jigsaw thing where he shows them the bullet and goes, this is the key to your salvation. And then I love that the trap is he just puts a gun between the 2 of them and goes, see you later. And leaves. It's great. Yeah. And then she goes to shoot him, and he says all that stuff about, like, we all have a finger on the scale for good or for evil. And then, like, so when she has the gun and she's pointing at him, she's like, you see her, like, coming to the, like, Amanda type, like, Jigsaw crony kind of thinking, like, they're like, oh, right, he's right about life in general, and I'm going to be a whatever. I'm going to be, like, a Jigsaw apprentice, because, like, oh, yeah, this guy's right, totally, it's making sense. And then the guy goes, oh, no, he said the word backwards, don't shoot the gun, and it shoots her. And it's just like, okay, that's good. And then the bullets on the inside had the keys. It's just like, oh, right. Just like Jigsaw always is. It's just incredibly literal. And just the keys are exploded in there. And he just dies in there. And I'm like, that's great. I love it. Because that trap very specifically disregarded the grain silo and the big weird twister. That, just having those people...
weird twister.
Having those 2 people in the room and then giving them the gun and turning them on each other a little bit and then going, see ya.
Yeah.
That's the closest to Saw 1 we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
It's great. It made me so happy.
It's good.
And then the movie goes off the rails.
Yeah.
Then, just like Moonraker, for the last minute, for some reason, lasers show up.
Yeah, they both got the laser collar on, and then it's like, oh, nope. coroner the whole time.
Yeah.
Because?
He was also a Jigsaw apprentice.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot that they were boys.
He switched up Jigsaw's x-rays.
Yeah.
And then when Jigsaw put him in the trap and he didn't wake up in time and everybody left, Jigsaw came out and unlocked him and went, I think I made a mistake here. You shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And apologized, and they became boys. And it's the funniest part of this movie is it cuts to a scene of both of them just like at a workbench with this like weird like soft like walk the line lighting. Like it reminded me of Walk Hard, where him and his brother are in
Funny
the
you bring
barn.
that up because I just watched that with Will the other night.
Yeah, how's it age?
Great. It's hilarious.
Walk Hard, so
Yeah.
good.
One of my favorite. I laughed the hardest at one point. It's a dumb joke, but it's right when he is about to have sex with Pam, because they just got married, and his other wife, walks in, and they're all like, "You can't get double married," and stuff like that. And Pam asks him to explain, and he's just like, "You told me about that dream where you were licking my balls, and that felt like a sign."
I thought you were gonna ring up that for the next like scene or two. He's wearing two wedding rings.
Oh, it's so funny because he just goes, "Oh, I can't cheat, but you can just drink up all the milk in the middle of the night." And he's like, "I'm a cheater." He says that and he goes, "I'm a cheater, guilty as charged." And yeah, you see both rings on.
You can drink up all the milk.
And he's like, "I'm a criminal," or whatever. She's like, "You are a criminal, Dewey. It's illegal to get married to two people."
Fuck, I think I'm gonna go home and watch one.
It's really funny. Yeah, one of my favorites is when he's feeding the giraffe at the table, and he goes, he's like, "I was playing a fair, and they were like, we want to give you $5,000. I was like, "No, you won't. You're gonna give me that giraffe." And he's like, "Hey," and then he goes, "They did it."
Love it. So good.
Like just the astonishment that he had the pull to do that is so funny.
It's also like the more it ages and like the longer I think about this joke specifically, I think that just the funnier it gets.
Yeah.
Like it is really funny to have like Jack Black and Paul Rudd play John and
Everybody
Paul.
got a new mantra. Paul is a big fat cunt.
Yeah, that's so funny and like. But I think hands down, the funniest casting decision in any movie ever is to have Jack White be Elvis.
So funny. He's so funny. He goes, "God damn!" When he's like, only two kinds of people know the karate: the Chinese and the king, and one of them's me.
It's so funny, and I'm not
two
even
kinds of people: the Chinese and the king, and one of them's me.
And I don't even go like, "Oh man, Jack White is doing a really funny job in this." I don't think about his performance one way or the other. Just the idea that someone went, "What if it was Jack White?"
Yeah.
That's
Frankie
so fucking
Muniz
funny. It's
as,
such a bad
Buddy
idea.
Holly.
Oh, Christ.
Stellar. It's a hilarious
It's
film.
so good.
Dude. And then also his masterpiece at the end. Fuck, there was this. Oh, yeah. He's going on and on about how it's a beautiful ride, whatever. And he's like, "It's about the hard times and the laughs and the smiles and all this." And there's one part where he's like, "Is traveling not just for business?" It's one of the lines. And I almost died. So funny.
It's so good.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna assume you're gonna give Jigsaw
D-.
a D-. I'm gonna give it a C+. Walk
Wonderful.
Hard A.
S tier, yeah, it's an A for sure. Yeah, it's A+.
Walk Hard.
Yeah, kind of got a little headache. I'm hungry, so and I've got somewhere to be. I'm not gonna lie to you, but here's what I'm saying. What's that movie where Ben Affleck is in it and they are oil drillers that have to blow up an asteroid or something? Is that Armageddon?
Armageddon? Yeah.
That's my pick for next week.
For next week?
Yeah.
Oh, right. We're doing movies.
Yeah, actual movies
Oh,
that people wrote and directed and acted in.
I can't believe I hadn't thought about this yet. I feel like I had one last week and I went, man, I gotta watch Saw.
Or what's that other movie about the moon falling to Earth?
Moonfall.
Armageddon, sorry.
What's an Armageddon type movie? Well, yeah, what's a good
Moonfall.
You know what would make sense?
What?
For us
what about
to do-
Independence Day? I've never seen that.
Us to do Twister would make sense. I feel like that's in the same vein.
Okay.
Fuck them. We're not doing it.
Okay. I don't even give a fuck about tornadoes.
It's apparently really good though. It's a
The new one?
It's a
Or
Spielberg.
the original one?
The original.
Okay.
It's a Spielberg production.
What about
He didn't direct it,
Con
he
Air?
You would keep the Nick Cage stuff going. Yeah.
Con Air.
Let me
Tropic Thunders.
go ahead and try to do this real quick.
Thunderous. Movies like Armageddon, is that what you're going to type in?
No, I'm gonna type in Armageddon. Google's gonna go, hey, here's movies like it. Okay, I got two options for you.
Okay.
In the same vein as Armageddon, Speed.
Ooh.
Also in the same vein as Armageddon, just a movie I've been thinking about that I have never seen, but I think I would like to. Good Will Hunting.
Let's do Good Will Hunting, yeah.
Good Will Hunting? Okay.
Double Affleck.
Back-to-back Affleck.
Back-to-back Ben Affleck. I saw a conspiracy theory rumor that somebody proposed that the reason why Ben Affleck and J-Lo have separated is because of that Diddy tape thing. But what I will say is I'm freaking starving, and I'm getting to be Steve Buscemi in that Snickers commercial mode. So I'm thinking it's time to wrap it up, is what I'm saying.
Then wrap it up.
Yeah. Oh, that's that. Mattress Man.
Yeah, goddamn. Oh, my God.
All right, I need to eat peanut butter. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,